Hello everyone and welcome back to the Triple Crown Wargaming studio where you join me, James the Lore Master Lamin, and him, Max the Chieftain Hurley.
Hello.
For another instalment of this month in Warhammer.
Him? Really?
Yeah,
him?
Me and him. It's nice.
Maybe.
Him and me.
Me and I? The King and I?
The King and I. The King and I?
Oh.
Here's our monthly update on all things in the world of Warhammer at the Triple Crown Wargaming studio. So you are joining us once again for our usual mix of roundtable discussion about different aspects of the hobby, from the serious
to the silly, which is apparently me.
Well, no, I was going to be silly this month.
Oh,
you just took the mantle upon yourself.
Oh, I see.
We are not joined by Scott, as you can see.
Now who has commitment issues?
Now who has commitment issues. He's not feeling very well after a very long weekend of driving and gaming.
If you can't hear by our voices, they are pretty hoarse at the moment.
So, as ever, we're going to begin by chatting about new releases over the last 4 weeks, before moving on to the month in our hobby, anything to do with social media, the Warhammer news, as I like to call it. Shuffle my papers like a news anchor. And then this one's big discussion, which is twofold. It's the 1 year anniversary of Triple Crown Wargaming.
1 whole year.
As a platform for Warhammering on the internet. And we're also going to talk about the North Remembers GT that we got back from about 8 hours ago.
We got back from 8 hours, but it was last weekend.
Yeah, so for you guys, it will have been a week ago when you see this.
Yeah, about 8 hours ago, and delirious is not the term at this point.
Yeah, it's good. So, and then finally, as ever, we'll go through what you can expect to find on the website and YouTube over the next 4 weeks from us. I'm going to start, as always, by checking out those new releases. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot this month.
No, it's been pretty dry.
Big month, short month, big month, short month.
I say it's been pretty dry for the past couple of months, if I'm honest.
Last month was okay.
Was it okay?
It was okay.
I wasn't here for last month, so
it was okay.
No.
We had some things to talk about.
There you
go. So we've just got one box that we've sort of found, which is the Arena of Shades. So this one is from Games Workshop. It's £115,
Yeah,
so 115.
It's one of their new 2 army combined beginner boxes sort of thing.
Yeah, like box gamey type sort of things, isn't it? So this one has 5 Dark Rider / Doomfire Warlocks, depending on how you build them. 10 Witch Elves / Sisters of the Slaughter for your Dark Elf army. There's a Dark Elf character who is like a sort of witch sister type character.
So a hag.
A Death Hag, yeah, would be the obvious choice. And it also has 5 of the Canary Painbringers, which were a unit they released for AOS. That I've seen plenty of people put Demonette heads and claws on.
Yep.
And use as Slanesh Furies.
John's one of them.
Yeah, he is. And I think these are great as harpies.
Yeah, they do.
I think they make excellent harpies. So
probably the base where they came up with the idea for them is probably use the harpies.
And they're really dynamic, and because they're all sort of landing on towers and stuff, they go brilliantly on square bases.
Yeah. And
because they're on a skirmish tray, they don't clash either.
They don't clash either.
It's great.
It's better than the old harpies are like that.
Yeah, they're not.
Climbing up a wall.
Sorry, if you've just tuned in, this is not a French mime show.
We're stuck in the box.
So against them, you've got lots of the new undead sort of Nighthaunt, yeah, sort of ghostly stuff. Now there is, I think, less obvious uses for this side of the box.
It's much more nuanced than what you can use these guys.
I do think for Dark Elf collectors, though, you just buy this box and sell the other half.
Yes. Yeah.
But you know, you get one Mortis, Scriber Mortis, who is like a character who has a scribe going on. You get 5 of these Craven Throne Guard, which I believe are the new guys with the crossbows.
I haven't looked into some of the new AOS ghost stuff.
In fact, I'm certain it is them.
Yep.
10 Blade Geist Revenants.
Blade Geist Revenants.
Yeah. 1 Spirit Torment, 2 Chain Rasps, and 4 Maimorn Banshees.
2 chain gas, not masts.
Oh, I don't know.
2 chain gas and 4 Maimorn Banshees.
Right, so the Spirit Torment, I've seen used as Spirit Hosts.
Yes.
They look great. Put them on a 40. The same with the chain ghasts. I've seen them pushed onto 40s like that. The Banshees are Banshees.
Yeah, Banshees. They're basically Banshees with 2 swords, which the old Banshee model was anyway.
Yeah. The Blade Geist Revenants make fine Calm Wraiths. They've got 2 handy weapons and they look like a Calm Wraith.
They do.
Derek Arm Wraith, you could use them in units. Don't forget, you can use them in units in the rare slot of the Vampire Count's Army book. So that's great. So it's really the Multi-Scriber you could use as a white or as a character Wraith.
I could see it as being used as like if you're doing a ghost themed army as like a necromancer, but a ghost necromancer.
That's a really cool idea as well. A little bit of subtle conversion. So the only thing we weren't too sure about with the Craven Throne Guard, if we're honest, with the crossbows.
Because vampires don't have any shooting.
Not really.
At all.
So but Undead Legion maybe you could find something there. But
yeah, that is a push. Use them as like the archers, but
yeah, I don't think so. I think you probably just forget those. But the rest of the stuff's really cool.
A unit filler, maybe.
Maybe you save a lot of money.
You do, like the fact that the witches are themselves are £35 for 10.
They could actually be quite good in like a spirit host base. Because you could put like a couple of them on bases or put them on with something else like the chain rasps and add some different height and texture to a base. Yeah. That's quite a nice way to use them because they're a swarm and they're not sort of descript. I know they have a crossbow they couldn't use.
No, it's like the ghost of a dead soldier.
Of a dead soldier, yeah. It's quite cool. So that's model releases. Now, Corvus Belli. Yeah. Now these guys make the Infinity game, which is a sort of sci-fi skirmish game.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking. Where are they going with this? They've announced that they're making a new fantasy game called Warcrow. Now, we're not suggesting that you play Warcrow. No. We don't know if it's going to be good or bad. But we're not a Warcrow channel. We're a Warhammer channel.
We are Warhammer fantasy.
But they have said they're going to release be releasing a large range of plastic miniatures, including elves, dwarves, men, and orcs. So we think this could be one for the future.
It could be.
For replacing some of those out of production units that you can't get a hold of anymore.
So of course, but they also said they're going to release event races themselves, but they might not be able to translate over that well.
No, we're just not sure.
So elves, dwarves, men, and orcs. That's like the 4 main staple armies of any fantasy setting, if I'm honest.
You got to think though, for men, there's quite a few Empire kits that are no longer available. Yeah. Things like the archers, and he's racking his brains. The knights. That's a big one. No,
they make some artillery pieces.
Yes. For elves, it's bucket loads, particularly for high elves. There's a lot missing. No core kind of high elf infantry available from Games Workshop anymore. So that's huge. Dwarves.
Yes, artillery pieces.
Well, and the core warriors, they're no longer making dwarf warriors, I don't think. So and crossbowmen and stuff like that. So again, could be really useful. And again for orcs, orc boys, they don't make orc boys anymore.
There's a basic orc boy, yeah.
So there could be some cool stuff for the future there. So check that out as and when information becomes available.
The only concern I have about Warcrow is the fact that Infinity is a highly skirmish based game. Like you get like 5. I think, from my memory, it's 5 or 10 models in an artist or your army. So whether they base it into regiments or it be a skirmish fantasy game, may limit to the fact you may be using these guys as like characters rather than ranked up units.
Maybe, yeah, I suppose, yeah, just wait and see. But it's one to watch the space of, I think. We'll have a look.
They've said they're aiming for a 2023 release.
So a little while away, yeah.
But put in the calendars for of interest.
For stuff to check out, yeah. So on to the month in our hobby, I think.
Yeah, nothing else for the releases then.
There's nothing else, no. Sorry. So, what have you been working on, Max?
Well, I was furiously painting Chaos Dwarves.
You were.
Because, like many things I do, I leave it to the last minute. So I had a month to basically paint 2,500 points of Chaos Dwarves. Yeah, that was fun. So no, I finished fully painted and based 3,000 points of Chaos Dwarves, which in itself, the core has 70 models.
So it's not none.
It's not none. The core, but then once you get out of the core, it is basically just monsters, artillery, and characters. So I didn't have to paint. I got my source profit on the cow or the Balosaurus. I didn't paint that. Rob Nixon, he painted that for me. Or he didn't paint it for me. He gave it to me painted and based. So I was like, that's fine. I don't have to worry about him. I did get 2 Demon Smiths, a Battle Standard Bearer done. I bought the limited edition Source of Profit with the fire in his hand and the staff like that of the Bay of E off eBay, and I got that and I painted him up.
Other marketplace sites are available.
They are. So he was my unmounted Source of Profit. And then for core I got 40 Hobgoblins, which I used the Hobgrot Slitters.
Which work really well.
They do work really well.
They go great on squares.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saying, "Oh, will they need to be able to use Hobgoblins?" I can confirm they are good as Hobgoblins. 30 odd Chaos Dwarves with their sword shields, and I stuck a great weapon on their back, just for a bit of variety on it. A magma cannon, a Death Trigger rocket launcher, and two Kadites.
Yeah. Now your Kodais, you converted them, didn't you?
I did convert them. The Kodais were converted from a 140k Mauler Fiend. The old... And obviously the Mauler Fiend's head is a mechanical demon head. So what
we had to do something about that, didn't we?
We had to do something about that. We had to make it a bit more bovine, I think. A bit more bovine. And so I managed to find, on the internet, two Gorgon heads.
Get your Gorgon.
Get your Gorgon. And they look super goofy. And I love them.
They're amazing. They are as bad and as good as they sound.
They look so goofy and amazing. But I painted them up. They've all been painted in... They sprayed silver, contrast, Blood Angels contrast red, put a bit of gloss on it, gold it up.
It really makes a difference when you put the gloss on as well.
The contrast before and after gloss, it does bring a lot of shine to it.
Yeah, it really does.
It makes it stand out. On the Kodai, I was very happy with the Kodais themselves. They come out looking superb. So I got that done, and then that's my painting side of the hobby done. That's what I have to get done for, and I'll talk about more in a bit about the actual army itself, the details of the army itself.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
So that's basically what the army consists of, and in terms of buying for myself.
Oh, you've got getting ahead of me. What have you bought, man?
We're going to go into bought now. So that's what painted. Buying, it was a mammoth weekend for buying, to be honest.
I ended up thinking I was buying lots and buying almost nothing.
You didn't.
No, I didn't.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did. So before...
So did Scott.
So before we went to the North Rivers in Holmfirth, we made a stop at Murfield Miniatures.
Yeah, I want to give a massive shout out to Mark at Murfield Miniatures. If you're not following them on Facebook, if you're not sort of going and checking that out, it is a drive.
Yeah, but it's well worth it. If you're looking for like some just random out of production sort of bargains, Murfield Miniatures will do them.
Yeah, there's lots of really good stuff that's still in production as well, to be honest. That was just,
cheaper.
There because it was second hand. And I mean, Scott picked up a Screaming Bell and two Plague Claw catapults. They were grey plastic.
They're grey plastic. They're not even glued on their bases. They were just grey plastic, and he picked them up for 40 quid.
I think it's a bit more, but not a lot more.
£43, something around that amount.
Like half price.
Yeah.
Basically. Amazing.
Yeah.
So
Murfield Miniatures on Facebook, give him a check, and you can message Mark, and he'll basically be able to sort of hang out for you.
Yeah, they put their stuff up as well, and you can kind of
claim it sort of thing.
Yeah, put your interest in it, and then organise, and they will send out as well. So we'll be, you'll see us hot on the heels of that stuff ourselves.
But in terms of what I bought, I managed to buy. What was it? 9 Screamers of Tzeentch.
Yeah.
Which combined with the 3 already own now makes up all the Screamers I want for my Tzeentch Demons army.
You heard it here first.
Yep.
Tzeentch Demons.
Tzeentch Demons. And then I bought 6 Flamers of Tzeentch.
Yeah.
Because that again, it's all Tzeentch, so you don't get much choice what you take. And it's Flamers of Tzeentch now in the army as well.
Nice.
I picked up. What else did I buy from Murfield?
Chariots.
No, I didn't buy Chariots.
I wasn't sure if you bought Chariots.
No, I didn't buy Chariots. They did have some Hell Striders, but I didn't pick them up because I thought I told myself I was moving away from the Warriors for
a while.
For a bit. I didn't want to go straight back into it. I say that, and then I'm going to go to what I bought next.
Yes, yeah. What did you buy next, Max?
And so that's what I got from Murfield. So that was like super cheap, and I was really happy with what I bought. And I thought that's what I'm going to buy for the weekend. We're going to go to this place. We're going to go to the tournament. We're going to go Holmfirth Gaming Centre.
Yeah, another awesome venue.
We'll
talk about that more later.
And then they went in there, and then they had more stuff that I want to spend money on. So I picked up a Herald of Tzeentch on disc.
Yes.
Still in production by Games Workshop.
But a lot cheaper.
But I got it for about £5 cheaper, which was very nice. And then Holmfirth Game Centre, they do Creature Cast.
Yeah,
or Creature Caster.
Yeah, they're the sort of stockist.
They're the stockist or distributor for
That's
the UK
right.
of Creature Caster. And they had what they call their Drakon, which is basically Colex Sunnier.
Yeah.
He's a massive Dragon Ogre with a two-handed weapon that's either got a massive axe head on the bottom or a massive double blade at the bottom, so as you go and stab it in. And you can glue wings, you can glue back pieces in so it fills it out.
It doesn't have wings.
It doesn't have wings. 2 different options of heads.
So Colex Sunnier might be showing up.
Colex Sunnier, it might be showing up in the future point in time. The only issue with it is that it doesn't have a hammerhead, which we've got to try and sort out. Which would be quite good. But I got him, and we looked at him last night when we got home.
Amazing cast.
The quality of it is amazing, and so I got him for that. And then I picked up some books from there as well. Nothing to do with fantasy, just picked up some like Horus Heresy novels.
Yeah.
Because they were sort of not made by Games Workshop anymore, so I thought I'll pick them up for my collection.
Grab them as well.
So it was a mammoth weekend for my hobby, to be honest.
It was. What's the plan for next month?
I've been talking about what armies I want to start making a work on. Obviously, I just said I've got the Zinch stuff as well, but I think I want to get more back into my Beastman. Because I finished 2,500 points, and 2,500 points isn't enough.
No, it's nice to be able to mix and match your list.
Yeah,
and have different options.
The fact that the bulk of the army is done, the characters of the core is done. That's the main part. Once you've got the core done, you can then add bits and pieces as you go. The main bulk of the core is done, and it's all done. So now I want to go into that. So I've been thinking about what else I want to add, and I have Pork Iron Fever. Pork Iron Fever, and so me and Rob Nixon were talking about over the weekend now how fun it would be to just go the full pig with the Razor Gore herd. So I might be picking up a good few of them.
Yeah, make sure you check it out, the Tales from the Wizard's Tower. I think we may have already spoken about it on there by the time you see this video.
It's interesting because a year ago, the first ever this month for Warhammer, I said I wanted to run a unit of 18 Razor Gore. It's come full circle. Look at us now. But that's my hobby. So next month, might possibly go into Zinch Demons or into some Beastmen. The Orcs and Goblins, they're just
we're just parking them for now.
They'll get done when they need to get done. I don't want to touch that with 10-foot pole. So that's me. Mammoth for me. What about you, my friend?
So working on wise, like you, lots of hobby for the North Remembers weekend. Yes. So I did the Celestial Hurricanum that I used against Andy in the Take the Crown Battle Report last month.
Fantastically looking.
Oh, cheers, man. I was really pleased with it. It's up there now. It's living up there.
Up there at the top.
And I painted... I can't remember if I'd done all the great swords before last month in Warhammer. So you guys that are avid followers will be able to know whether I had a couple to finish. I can't quite remember. But I did those. I did some freehand banners to just lift the standard of my army a little bit. You know. You painted my package, which was the 2013 Games Day Marco Colombo with his foot on the chest and he's holding up the Lizard Man idol.
Another nickname that I like to give him.
Captain Codpiece.
Codpiece Colombo.
I was really pleased with him. I'll try and get some shots of him actually.
Yeah, he's the detail on it, like
it's a lovely model.
The jewelled head, which obviously looks so similar to Indiana Jones and the King of the Crystal Skull head. Absolutely ripped off there. Other archaeological franchises are available.
Jurassic Park, is that an archaeological franchise? Yeah.
But no, I'm about to say Chris Columbus. That's a director.
The Harry Potter guy.
Harry Potter guy.
Oh, where's Scott when you need him?
But no, he's a really nicely detailed miniature.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
So I painted him. Really enjoyed doing that. So yeah, there was mainly Empire for me this last month. And then, I didn't have as much hobby time as I'd hoped.
No,
so the week before we went, I was hoping to kind of get some hobby done, but I was just absolutely manic.
There, you had a lot of out of studio,
real world commitments, rubbish things. But bolt wise, like Max said, we went to Murfield. I picked up a really cool Madcap Goblin Shaman. I'm really looking forward to playing him.
One of the old metal as well.
He's in metal as well, yeah. So I'll add him to the goblins that are hiding behind this stack of books. I picked up a classic 7th edition Dwarf Slayer from the old Skull Glass box.
The one that's got the 2 X's like that.
I was like, I'll have him. I think he was £1. I was like, I'll go on for £1. I'll have him.
Treat myself.
And then I picked up a couple of Time of Legends books that I don't have that I think might be out of production, but I'm not sure.
Which ones were they? War of the Beard as well.
Final one in the War of the Beard series, and the one that came after that, which I think is the Fall of Urbak or something like that. Breaking of Urbak, something like that. I'm not sure.
Urbak Pass. It's a breaking of a mountain.
Yeah. So very cool. Basically, got a couple of really cool books. And I picked up some bases of all things because they had lots and lots of cavalry bases there, and they were not a lot of money. And I thought, well, I'll buy some cavalry bases.
50p a base,
20p, I think.
20p a base, and you picked up about 20, 40.
You love to see it. I think I picked up 10 or 20. Yeah, it wasn't. I just picked them up.
Well, you ain't got any cavalry to be built anytime soon. You maybe got some Blood Knights.
Yeah, I've got Blood Knights that need doing. I've got some Hellstriders that I could do.
Yeah.
I think I've got the bases for them already, to be fair, though. But the Blood Knights, I'm a bit short of bases on.
Yeah, so it's just handy stuff to have.
But it's like anything. You see things like that and you think, you know what, I'm going to grab them. Something else we managed to get whilst we were up there, which was when we went through to Holmfirth Gaming Centre. Another Mark. I want to give a massive shout out to Mark, who sort of I couldn't be sure whether he worked or volunteered at the gaming centre. I've got to be honest, from talking to him, but that just might be because I'm an idiot. But he was there all weekend. He was a lovely chap. Could not do more for us. And he actually sold us his personal collection of fantasy battle magic cards.
He did, yeah.
Which was amazing to get, because you know yourselves when you take them and they get wet with drinks or chewed up or damaged.
Or just lost.
Yeah, and they're so helpful when we're doing battle reports because it's a really easy visual thing for you guys to see on the table what spells we've got there.
I think everyone I know has lost their Soul Blight card.
Yeah, Soul Blight just seems to be a card that just goes.
That's the one that always
gets.
It's
like sock in a washing machine. Soul Blight.
It's like the back page of the paper Warhammer full rulebook.
Yeah, they're always gone. Have you got the magic items? No. But yeah, so that was very cool. Thanks, Mark. Really pleased to have got them. They'll be saying that just helps us keep producing the content we produce. So we're really chuffed with that.
Scott, he, as we said, he bought those.
I've also bought a cockatrice.
He did also buy a cockatrice.
I bought a cockatrice. They had it on the shelf, and again, like you have with your demon on disc, it's still produced, but it was much cheaper, so I bought it.
Was a bigger. But then, as we said, Scott bought the.
Scott bought a lot, yeah.
He bought the Screaming Bell. He bought the 2 Plague Claw Catapults from Murfield. I think he might have picked up something else from Murfield. I'm not entirely sure.
I think he picked up some stuff that was just like sort of new inbox stuff that was there that they had that he just bought.
But then he had a bit of a mammoth spend at the Holmfirth Gaming Centre.
Yeah, he bought something from Creature Caster that he's going to use as an incarnate elemental of death.
Yeah, it's basically like a. Either like a death demon, not a death spirit coming through a portal.
It's really cool.
It looks super cool.
Yeah.
I don't know the actual name if you want to look at it on Creature Caster's website.
We'll try and find out and put it in the description because Scott will know, but he's obviously not with us this lunchtime.
But then he also bought the Coven Throne and Mortis engine.
Yeah, he bought a Coven Throne and a Mortis engine that were fully magnetised, so you could make 2 Coven Thrones or 2 Mortis engines with the pair.
Painted base, and the Coven Throne came with a painted Isabella von Carstein as well.
He's had a great weekend
there. Of all things, he picks up, and they look good.
And that's another big shout out to Mark as well from
he sold that to Scott.
He sold that to Scott from his personal collection as well. So
great
really cool. So
yeah, it's been from a past couple of like dry months in RB, a few months back
a lot
to
of
this.
Purchases. So my plan for next month is really exciting for you guys at home, actually, because I'm going to be frantically working to make sure the Triple Crown GT is amazing.
Yep.
And I know we'll all be doing that as a team, but we've got the quiz to finish putting together, that will be high on my agenda. We've also got lots more terrain that we're going to paint, so we've got even more terrain than we had for the event in October for the narrative. And we've got more boards. We're going to try and make the boards a bit brighter and a bit better finished.
Yes.
So lots to do for that now. It's only sort of 4.5 weeks for us, and by the time you see this video, it'll be 4 weeks.
4 weeks at that point, yeah.
So we're really excited.
Any personal hobby, like any models or anything like you looking to get
Well,
done?
it will be dwarves. I'll go back to the dwarves now. As much as there is a Slanesh Chaos Army calling to me, which you guys saw me playing around with at Christmas time. I've got to do the dwarves because I really want to get them on the channel. And we've got more exciting things coming to the channel this month. And I want the dwarves to start coming to that party too, because we're really missing them.
They're the only army we don't have.
It is all of you kings under the mountain. Bear with us. We really do care about dwarf content. So
Grudge time's coming.
Grudge times are coming. Just remember what we did with the Empire. We didn't have Empire for a while, and then you just got like a pounding of Empire cool stuff. We'll do very similar things, I'm sure, with our dwarves when they finally arrive. They're only moving 3. It's not their fault.
Very slow. Imagine having to march all the way from the World's Edge Mountains.
Yeah, to here.
It's a long way.
To Essex.
It's a long way to Essex. That's across universes, that is.
You'd be disappointed, wouldn't you?
You come here, this place going in the Grudge book. All of ecstasy in the book Grudges.
So that's the month in our hobby then.
It is. Mammoth. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think next month's going to be mammoth as well, with lots of like cool stuff happening. So we'll have a little look at some social media things now. It's been a really cool month for us. The engagement we get on social media at the moment is amazing. The amount of you that take your time out of your day to comment on our posts, to chat to us about stuff, to send us messages, to share your cool hobby with us,
tagging us in stuff, especially over the week, especially from
this weekend just
this
gone.
Week, not remembered,
last weekend for you guys, but yeah, it's great. So yeah, we really appreciate it. Please keep doing it. The more you do it,
we love speaking to you as well over that weekend.
It was great last weekend.
A lot of people.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's great to see people that like the content and just ask us questions, and you get to ask them great questions about their hobby too. And I think that's the part that's really amazing when they're talking about like what they've got in their army or why they chose it and what their tactical thoughts were. It's just great. It's really cool. Now, last month we talked to you about the changes in deployment.
We did.
On our battle reports.
I'd say we did. You did.
Me and Scott did, I think, yeah. And we said to you guys, let us know if you think that you like the new style, where we summarise deployment and talk about our tactical positioning rather than showing you us placing every unit for 20 minutes. And in general, actually, probably slightly more people have come in with really positive feedback on that. They like the streamlinedness of the game. They feel that they still get most of the tactical kind of nuance that they were from the deployment phase. So we're going to redouble our efforts to keep making that summary at the end about our deployment better, more incisive for you guys at home.
Well, why we decided to put this unit here and why we decided to do what we needed to do at that point.
Exactly. And we're going to leave that open for another month, if you like. If people want to come back to us and talk to us again about what they like or don't like, whether they think that it's better when we see the whole deployment or whether they prefer the new streamline one, we'll happily take more kind of comments and feedback on that this month, because we think it's probably going to stay the same, but if we were to suddenly have a big outpouring the other way, we would listen, because it's about what you guys want to see.
We are a community.
Yeah, it only works for us because you guys, support us and you guys engage with the content. So it's really important that you feel like you're getting what you want out of it. So, as ever, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our Saturday showcase. Do you want to get your really amazing models onto our social media feeds? If you do, send us them.
Send us pictures, please.
Email us,
we want to see
the
them.
Triple Crown Guys @gmail.com. Drop us across on Facebook. Drop us across a message. Go to Instagram. DM us.
Send a carrier pigeon.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
I want to see it. I want to see a carrier pigeon.
It's a carrier pigeon. It's a pigeon bomb. It's a pigeon bomb. Get out.
A mechanical pigeon bomb. Oh, you rolled a 1. Nice, come back.
Oh dear.
Pigeon explodes in midair.
It's also been another really cool month for us, actually, social media wise, because we breached 400 Facebook likes this month.
We did. Thank you very much.
So yeah, epic, and almost 600 of you followers now on Facebook.
Why would anyone want to follow us?
It's pressure, that.
Yeah.
But seriously,
that many people follow you, you usually start worrying about stuff, don't you?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, keep following us. People are like, they're weird. But please do keep liking, subscribing and sharing. I'm sorry if you're from the north. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, that.
So please do, because it really makes our day. It really makes us smile.
It does, yes.
We'll move on. There's quite a bit of Warhammer news this month. Quite a bit to impart. So we'll start as ever with our Champions Destiny shout out. Do you want to take us on that journey, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, Max.
That's just throwing the while out there.
Take us on that journey.
Champions of Destiny UK 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battles, I think it's called on Facebook. Run by Mark Pete, who was at the North Members last week.
Good to see him.
Good to see him again. It's just a good place for all Warhammer Fantasy players to hang out in the UK. I think there's probably 500 members at this point.
I think it's 500-600 now.
500-600. A lot of people get involved in it. We post a lot in there. A lot of people ask questions, general queries, showing off their armies.
Lots of events get posted in there.
They do. I think pretty much all the events in the UK do get posted in that group at this point in time.
Yeah, and there's lots of people that if you're not in the UK, that do also join that group. For the other side of it, for the hobby and support side of it. That's a massive part of what makes that group so good, is that there's loads of great hobby going in there. People are always available to answer questions. It's just a cool place to be. If you're into 8th edition fantasy battles, it's the place to go.
It's all good stuff.
It certainly is. Now, as ever, I'm going to remind you, if you are not a knight errant on triplecrownwargaming.com, why are you not a knight errant?
Get over there.
It's free.
Get over there. Ride your horse.
Get on your horse.
You may be a mounted German at this point in time, but you become a knight errant.
That's right. You can elevate your status from yeoman to
errant man.
Errant man. You can go from having a helmet and light armour to having a massive head.
Massive head.
The knight errants have big heads.
With an overweight golden dragon on a sort of. Yeah,
so,
it'll be like that.
No, the knight errants don't get the helmets, do they? They're the ones with the massive. Their heads are the size of the helmeted heads. You're like, mate, he's got a huge head. He's never going to get a helmet.
All that once.
But yeah, it's free. You get additional content for doing it. So I'm not sure why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's great. So get over there.
Get over there. TripleCrownWargaming.com. Sign up today.
Oh yes, Max.
Sign up.
So events, we've got quite a bit to talk about event-wise. So it is the Triple Crown GT is the 7th and 8th of May, as I'm sure lots of you know.
It's a coming.
It is a coming, and when you see this, it will be 4 weeks away, and it will be about 2 weeks till list submission.
Yeah.
So that's really what I want to say. The GT is sold out. We do still have a few people emailing us asking to go on the reserve list. Feel free to do so. We haven't had any dropouts at the moment, but if it does happen, we'll then, as always, we'll go down the reserve list from the top to the bottom, and in that order. So we're really excited about it. We're getting loads of you messaging us about your armies and the sort of cool stuff you're doing. So we're psyched. But please don't forget, list submission is the 23rd of April if you have got a ticket. You need to put on your list as well your shirt size, because don't forget, this year you've got a free Triple Crown Wargaming Grand Tournament 2022 t-shirt.
Who doesn't want to wear that for their pyjamas?
Who doesn't want to wear it for their pyjamas? Who doesn't want to wear it out with their friends? Show off how cool you are because you went.
You wear it for pyjamas.
So yeah, don't forget to send us your shirt size. We will chase you if you don't, but please try to remember, because as you can appreciate, it's going to be a lot of processing, and we're only going to have a limited window to get those produced.
We have a lot of stuff to do this month.
We certainly do.
And this will help us along with that a little bit extra.
But we can't wait to see you all there. We're so excited. It's really come up so quickly. If you like, the Northern Members was kind of the first.
Yeah, the season.
The first of the season, because there was a really cool one in January, I think, that Shane Baxter ran up at Stockton-on-Tees, I think it was, and we really wanted to go, but it was just a very long way for one day.
Yeah.
But I think there's been quite a gap, so it kind of feels like now we're starting to get into the season where there's sort of an event, at least one event every month.
April to around June, July time.
And on right into October this year. Yeah. There'll be one at least every month, I think, so that's really cool. Speaking of that, when we did finish at the Northern Members, Tim Richardson, the organiser, and all around northern guy,
he's very northern. Gravy pumps through those veins.
Has announced he's going to be running an event in late October this year, and that is called Winter is Coming.
Obviously.
Now it's a team event. So what he said to us yesterday, and this is very much still in the air, so this is not gospel. Is that the event will be based on teams of 3 coming up and facing off against other teams of 3 for each round, where you sort of pair off for single matchups.
Yep.
But it's sort of a team-on-team thing.
I think that the initial aspect of it, Tim said it was 2,000 points with no special characters.
Yes, I do recall that being...
so no special characters, so no Alarials, no... Oh, okay, honestly, he wants I don't know.
No,
Snaggler Grop Spits.
Yeah, Gazelle of the Hunters.
No Gazelle of the Hunters.
Spoil it for me.
No Ungrel Thorhorse.
Oh, well, I mean,
how could he?
Without Ungrel, I'm not sure I could take Beastman. So we're really excited. So Tim will post more information about that on Champions of Destiny.
He will.
And on the Northern Members event page, I'm sure, as well.
And he said he was going to create a separate page for it as it was anyway.
Yeah. So lots of really cool stuff happening there. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is a promotion of such that we put up the Monday just gone onto our website and onto our social media, and I just want to take a few moments to mention that. So we're not a political channel, and we're not sort of a rights or views channel, if you like, at Triple Crown Wargaming. We're just a Warhammer channel.
We're simple folk.
We just want everyone to enjoy 8th edition Warhammer as much as we do. Now that said, Mark Peets, that we mentioned earlier, who does a lot for the Warhammer community and has done a lot, particularly in getting that community together, has got some friends in the Ukraine, and obviously they are attempting to flee this war zone that's happening there. Now, this is not a comment on rights or wrongs or wherefores. I'm being really specifically careful to remind everyone that we are a Warhammer page. First and foremost, and we're not worried. But Mark reached out to us and asked if we would, share his appeal, because he's trying to raise money to help these people fleeing a war zone. So, we didn't hesitate. So there's a GoFundMe link that we would have posted when you see this last Monday. And in addition to that, if you purchase any of product from the store section of triplecrownwargaming.com before the 30th of April, We will give 20% of that.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
I think that was right. Check the post. The post will be correct because Scott has the information. He's organised all of that. But I believe it was 20% of that of the profits on that will be donated to the appeal as well at the end of the month. So you can get yourself some cool goodies from us, some cool shirts with classic lines like "You love to see it" on the front of them.
Eat, sleep, something, repeat. I think it was
Base repeat.
Square
base repeat.
For whatever reason, I thought miscast repeat. That's just Scott.
No, that's just Scott.
That's just Scott.
And even things like the dice as well, which he doesn't need more dice, particularly when they've got cool crowns on them. And we'll add that to the GoFundMe as well, because Mark does so much for the Warhammer community, and he's a great guy, and we appreciate this is a cause that's really close to his heart. So
that's that.
Serious things out of the way. Let us move on to this month's big discussion, a two-parter, if you will.
The doubler.
A doubler discussion. And the first part of that doubler discussion is the 1 year anniversary of Triple Crown Wargaming.com.
1 year.
1 year, ladies and gentlemen.
We've played with each other for 1 entire year.
Every week.
It's been a struggle.
How dare you? It's been
how dare you?
It's been a pleasure. No, it's been great. Honestly, It's been so good. And I always say it, but it's been so good because you guys support it so much. We just love it. It's just so much fun going to events and chatting with people and laughing about mad stuff that happened in battle reports.
It's surreal. It's a surreal experience.
Or people saying like, I never thought that unit was very good, and then I used it, and actually it worked really well for me because it's like this. It's just really cool.
Surreal is the experience of going up to someone and saying, "Oh, but you're gonna fail your leadership test, aren't you?" Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Oh, this weekend you got dry roasted on leadership test.
Scott's gonna fall down the hill. No, well.
We're gonna come back to some of that because
some
of that is ace.
And obviously, like as James would say throughout the battle reports, we stood on a precipice. We've gone over that precipice.
We have gone over that precipice.
We're now a toddler.
We are a year tour, if you will.
Year tour.
So yeah, I mean, I think for me, my favourite moment of the last year has probably been the amount of people that come up to me now and say, "Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share," and shake their fist at me as well.
Really bad Northern accent.
It's so bad. I'm like, it's perfect.
Why do you enjoy it? So I didn't get anyone.
It's people that come up and do it. I just love.
I didn't get anyone come up to me and do it in a week, and with a microphone. Didn't I?
It's more hard work, isn't it?
It's more hard work.
It's more commitment than just talking like an idiot.
Come on, guys. I want someone to come up with a wig and a microphone and just like, I'm going to share it. Good for you.
Good for you, mate.
You do you.
What's been your favourite thing from the last
the creation of Pterodon,
mate. Pterodon. Oh, he's got to come back. We haven't used him for ages.
A year on. It's been a year since his inception.
I think we'll have to try and get him on really soon.
Pterodon's obviously close to my heart. Because he given his life in many an occasion.
I think the naming in general of random models, the amount of people that I heard over last weekend just being like, yeah, this is like Dave the something, or
we had Rob Nixon. I mentioned him again. He had his 2 Gorgons, which were Gorgon and
Solar.
I heard him. He's in like 2 games next to me, and I heard him say it multiple times. Like, please, just why is that a thing?
So good, mate.
Other good bits and pieces. Just getting like armies I've had unpainted for so long, and get them done purely not because I wanted to get them done, because they had to get done.
But then I think it's kind of cool. It's like the Empire. I never would have done them.
No.
Then I took them to a tournament because of that. Because we got Warpaint Mini to do a lot of work on them, and then I've added to that and just topped that up to the bigger points value. It's been great.
Buying armies, I've always said I wanted to buy. So like buying Beastmen and Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to have those armies. And it's actually given an excuse to do it. So actually getting around to expanding my hobby beyond 2,500 points of Warriors of Chaos.
Yeah, and I think that's actually been really good for all of us to expand our horizons that way and to play with different lists.
But yeah, so a year on, it's been a surreal experience. I know Scott. Well, he's not here. He can't talk for himself.
Yeah, I'm glad he's not here because I think it would have been really cool to see what his favourite moments have been.
Maybe his favourite moments was going down the aisle half the time in his games.
Yeah, it's honestly about that many.
Yeah, I think someone did work out. It may not as much as that now, but back in the day, back about halfway through the year, it was about every other game
he went down the hole. It was great.
Fantastic.
You'd love to see
it. Brilliant. But no, I also want to say thank you to you guys for supporting us for a year.
Yeah.
And just helping us out, just giving us the support and the feedback, and watching our really badly made videos. I do my
the
best.
early ones.
The earlier ones.
The ones now I think are quite good.
They are quite good. My poor editing skills are trying to become better. But I want to thank you, and I'm sure Scott will say thank you, and James won't say thank you because he's not that kind of guy.
How dare you? So I'm going to say thank you in a better way because to celebrate 1 year of Triple Crown Wargaming, we as a .com to celebrate our .comming. We are going to have a 1 year prize draw. So for every Knight of the Realm subscriber that is a subscriber on the 30th of April 2022. So if you're not a subscriber now, don't worry, you can run over, grab your Knight of the Realm subscription.
Annual or monthly.
Yeah, either or is good. We will enter your name into a prize draw.
Yes.
The winner of that draw will be announced on next month in Warhammer, which I think is around the 1st or 2nd of May.
In a month's time?
Yeah. 4
weeks' time. Yeah.
Cool. And I don't know what I'm talking about. So it will be announced around next month in Warhammer. It will be announced on that. And you'll receive a special edition hooded sweatshirt. So it will have... we don't do these normally. These are just our logos.
These
the
are
actual Triple Crown ones.
This is probably the first one I got because
it's seen its days.
It's seen its day. Yours is quite fresh.
Yeah, that's nice. What can I say? I look after my things. So... you'll get this Triple Crown Wargaming badge on your left breast as worn, but instead of it being the gold of the War Council like we wear, you'll have the silver of the narrative events.
Because you're fun guys to play.
Because you're legendary. And on the back, I'm going to try and turn around and stay in camera shot. This will be good. So you see I've got the Lore Master there. Am I in camera shot?
Yeah, you're in camera.
I'm in camera. You've got the Lore Master there. You can have your choice of nickname on the back, and it will be, again, instead of the gold splay that we have, it will be done in the silver splay of the narrative campaigns.
I just want to say as well, please be sensible with your nicknames.
Please be sensible with your nicknames.
Whoever wins, please be sensible. We don't want to have any rude or uncouth.
Yeah, we won't print them. There you go. We won't do it.
So
pick something nice and cool.
Funny. The funniest one will get a shout out because, well, I say the funniest one.
There's only going to be one.
There's only one.
You know, if you want to make it funny, Max,
make
will
it
be pleased.
Absolutely banging.
So that's going to be special edition. It's going to be one-off. And if we do a prize draw in the future, it won't be that. It'll be something different again. So it's going to be the only one in existence, which is really cool. And it's just a big thank you from us for all of your amazing support to the channel. And just to us as guys, the amount of cool things people say. Like, you were off a couple of weeks, not feeling very well, and people were messaging like, oh, is Max alright? Is he okay?
Actually, mate,
so nice.
That was actually brought up over the weekend again. Hashtag where's Max?
Where's Max? Hashtag where's Max?
Oh, man.
Speaking of the weekend, let's do it. Let's move our conversation on from a really cool prize draw and what we've enjoyed to a weekend that I would say was a success.
Yeah,
For me.
Like the Dark Knight Rises. It was a success. For me. Other two mirror moves are available.
They are.
Shall we start with Scott?
Let's start with Scott.
He sent his list over, so I'm going to go through it now if I can get it quickly on my phone.
So we don't normally do phones.
We've actually
do phones today. So the North Remembers was the event. Now this was a 3,000 point event. It used a version of the Triple Crown Wargaming GT comp. But Tim Richardson, the organiser, had made some changes. Some of those were really stylistic changes. He wanted to encourage certain types of builds and different things. And I think in general, you could say he was relatively successful on that front.
Yeah, there was a lot of variety.
There was lots of really cool monster heavy builds. There were lots of people taking combat lords, which was really great to see.
A lot of lizard men.
And a lot of lizard men.
A lot
of warriors. I think between them, they're about a quarter of the field.
5 lizard men, they're making about
4 warriors, 4 or 5?
4 or 5 warriors.
Yeah, and there was 34 players at this event.
The only army that wasn't represented was Skaven.
Yes.
So I was thinking about this morning. I know there's one army that wasn't represented.
Yeah, and it was Skaven.
It was Skaven.
Yeah, there was no Skaven, but every other army was represented.
Including Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, it was, which is very cool. So,
good time, good people out there. I want to mention because he complained that we never mentioned his name. Jack Cropper, associate of the channel,
roaster of Max,
great roaster of Max. Jack Cropper,
Max Alley.
You are out there. Because we always mention Rob Nixon.
I'm going to mention Rob again in a minute.
We are going to.
But Jack, you're a lad. You did, and you would have got a mention because you played Scott in game 1.
You did play Scott in game 1.
But I don't have Scott's record what he won, lost and drew.
I'm going to try and remember it from the top of my head. So we did.
I know he got 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses. So he went straight down the middle for diddle, basically. And Scott finished in 12th place?
Finished 12th place.
So, again...
With 74 TPs out of the possible 121. Ooh.
Randomly, there was an extra bonus point available.
That's sprucey bonus point.
That's sprucey, if you will. So before we dive into Scott's list, actually, I want to give a couple of other really cool shout-outs. Tim did 3 awards at the event, sort of 3 main awards. He had sort of best painted army, which he rolled sort of best painted package and best painted terrain into. And Mark Ainsworth won that. Search for him on Instagram. You can find his cool models there. I'll put in the description the name of his Instagram handle. I'm sure he won't. I'll ask him if he's happy for us to do that. And if he is, we'll pop it in the description on the video. His army was beautiful. It was a really lovely Lizardman army. He had the new Lord Croak in the unit. It was just awesome. It just looked so awesome.
It's a big centerpiece model, and it works really well, I feel. Like the actual model itself works really well. You can get it on a 50.
You can.
It has now been done. It does take a bit of finagling.
But it's well worth looking at if you're a Lizardman collector, because it was such a great centrepiece to his army. He had a really cool pool that he'd created as his terrain piece with all vines dropping into the water. Looked really great. His package was Marco Colombo, same as my package.
Codpiece Colombo.
Really
Twice.
cool.
Double the codpiece.
Then we had the Bloodiest General that was for the most victory points scored. I'm not going to flatter him too much, but it was my brother John Lamin, who was on one video right at the beginning of Triple Crown Wargaming.
The very first video.
Very first deep dive. He took Dark Elves, not surprisingly. They're his tournament faction of choice.
Yes.
And he scored a lot of victory points.
I think it was...
It was over 13,000.
Yeah.
I know that. It was a lot. It was about 1,000 or 1,200 clear as the next nearest.
That was you, wasn't it? Was it? No.
I'm not sure. I didn't really understand the final victory point standings. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to say anything about that. All I know is that his was clearly ahead of everyone else's.
And he got a big sword.
So he's really pleased with himself. The last award was for the winner, but we'll go more on that later.
If we must.
Shall
we move into...
Before you do, I'm actually going to give a massive shout out to Owen, Mark and the team up at Holmfirth Gaming Centre. We had a wicked weekend with you guys. The quality of the food was amazing.
The venue was fantastic.
The stocking of the venue was great. There was plenty of stock. And there's also plenty of drinks and variety as well. There was alcohol, soft drinks, water, all the things you want.
And stuff like that.
Bucket loads of sweets and lots of different variety. Plenty of table space. It was really cold in Holmfirth this weekend. We had that Arctic blast or whatever it was that they were saying. The wind came in and it was really cold. The venue, beautifully temperatured. Now we all know you don't actually want a really hot venue for a wargaming tournament. There's a certain musk that develops, shall we say, like a frightened Skaven.
Not musk of fear.
But I have a musk of fear when I smell it. So, and I've got to say it was really well ventilated and kept at a really lovely temperature. So it was a great venue.
As soon as you stepped out the door, you're like, oh my word.
Yeah, it really was.
I think a lot of people went outside to put their toys in the car and came back with frostbite.
Yeah, and I will say this though, not one for the faint-hearted on stairs. It was a couple of floors up, and the stairs were steep.
They were steep. They got even worse if you went up to the storeroom upstairs.
I didn't. I know you guys did for the Creature Caster stuff. I also think I'm not sure you'd have to check with them what the access for things like wheelchairs and stuff would be, because I didn't see anything for that. Doesn't mean it's not there. I genuinely don't know, but I'd check with them. But Owen and the team, they could not do more for you. If you have the opportunity to go to an event at that venue, bite their arm off. It was a fantastic venue. We had a great time. So thanks for a great weekend from the venue as well. So, army lists. Let's start with Scott.
Can I go into the gun now?
Do it.
Let's do it. So, Scott took vampire counts. Is that a vampire?
It is now.
That's the Vargolf.
That's the Vargolf. That's their Vargolf.
But yeah, so Scott's 3,000. Scott's 3,000 points of vampires consisted of Count Manfred, the big man himself, big manners, on a hell steed. Yep. So he's a flying vampire lord.
Man who constantly goes down a hole, chose a really expensive, all-encompassing wizard as his general.
Yes,
what could possibly go wrong?
So that was his lord. He didn't take anything else. He didn't have really much points to take anything else particularly.
He's a good wedge man.
Yeah. And so for his heroes, he took 2 necromancers, both were level 1s on the lore of vampires, which is just the usual.
They were just there to take over if Manfred disappeared.
And one of them did take it to spell scroll.
Simple enough.
Simple as that. So his core is where it starts to diverge quite a bit.
Yeah.
So in his core, the usual stuff of he had 41 skeleton warriors with full command, as just naturally, and he had 49 zombies. So a bit more than usual. You used to see about 40 or something.
Standard musician, yeah. He wanted big units though.
Standard mission, and the rest of his core was filled out with 4 units of 10 direwolves.
40, baby.
40 direwolves, and with Manfred's Lord of the Dark or Summon Creatures of the Nights,
You can make them bigger.
you can make them big. I don't know if he did at all,
I don't know.
because we was all busy playing our own games, but
They did all have Doom Wolves as well, it's worth pointing
Yeah,
out.
they did have the champs as well.
Which is, important to remember, because it makes them not a bad unit. They charge in, they've got 11 attacks at strength 4.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Movement 9, Vanguards, they are.
They're very
quick.
useful, yeah.
And then his special is an interesting lot. So we had 2 units of 2 Bat Swarms, 2 units of 3 Vargeists, a single Spirit Host, and then he had 3 units of Hex Wraiths. One was 10 Hex Wraiths, and the other 2 were 7 apiece.
So you can see a picture of an army now that moves really quickly, that puts lots of pressure on the enemy, and that really doesn't have to commit its big points investments, those wraiths, to do lots of damage. So it's quite interesting.
And then in his rare slot was 2 Vargulfs. So again, just very quick and are dependable.
Yeah, and they're cheap.
They are cheap.
If they die, you don't cry too much. 175 points. They're really good for those
There's
points.
not a lot of stuff in it apart from the Hex Wraiths and Manners. There's not a lot of stuff in here that does cost a lot of points.
No, and this was something that he found, was that people really couldn't beat him.
No?
Yeah, they found him exceptionally hard to beat, because actually his army's got about 20 units in it, I think. Have a little check. It was really a lot. I remember it being a lot. I might have oversold
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
18, there you go. So
characters.
what's right, about 20.
Yeah.
Approaching 20.
So,
18 drops.
You can imagine.
So your army's down before he's put anything he cares about on the table.
Your army's down after he puts his Bat Swarms, Spirit Host, and Direwolves down.
Yeah.
And even then, his skeletons and his zombies still count as shadow.
Oh, they'd go first for me, because they're the least manoeuvrable element of my army. They just go in the middle.
They do. They are. So that was his army. He, as James said, he went 2-2-1, which is pretty standard. I think it's not.
No, he went. Oh yeah. That's right.
2 wins, 2
done.
losses, and a draw.
Yeah, sorry, that's how it's actually done. Cheers.
So yeah, it's not the conventional vampires.
And that was probably the comment I heard people say most about him when I was watching bits of his games or catching up. I've got to be honest, I didn't watch much. My games ran to time.
I think a lot of people's games did run to time. Pretty much everyone's games did.
But what I saw of that, a lot of people were really surprised at the list. He caught a couple of really rough matchups. He caught an Ensorcer Weapons Heavy Warriors of Chaos Army. I know
he did,
that.
and yeah, that didn't particularly well. I know he said his Hex Wraiths killed too many Chaos Warhounds. They got charged in by some Chaos Knights.
Yeah.
Which is a bit unfortunate by the Ensorcer's Weapons. So he had to see some rough matchups. His game 1 was against Jack Cropper.
It was,
and his Ogres. And
he did win that game.
He did win that game.
Sorry, Jack.
I think it was a 15-5.
I don't know. I wouldn't like to say.
No. So that was his first game. His second game. Scott will have to either make a comment in the
Maybe
video.
we'll get Scott to do a tale from the Wizard's Tower later in the month where
Possibly.
he goes through his list and his games. That's probably the best way
That's
to cover
probably
that
for him
because he's not here. But yeah, really different list.
It's a 0 on the North Members comp as well.
It was, and it was quite manoeuvrable for
oh yeah,
vampire army as well.
I remember saying he played a dwarf, all combat dwarf army. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Chris Newsham.
He played that, and it was basically a battle for the pass scenario.
Yeah.
And Scott did say by the end of turn 1 he was in Chris Newsham's deployment zone about halfway into it.
Yeah. It's fast, really scary army, and it's got all of that kind of output from Manfred as well with the death magic and the vampires magic.
2 Lord Master and 2 Lords magic.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
I think we'll get Scott on to chat about it. Like we'll get him to do a video chatting to you guys.
I can
about
say for
his
certain
list.
though, he didn't go down the L once.
Did he not?
I don't think he went down the L once.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I don't know. So.
Yeah, I don't think he went down the L once. But that's Scott. We'll get him to the tale, and we'll get his own tale, talking nothing but about himself.
In his own words.
He's going to love that. So that's Scott's. So do you want to go with mine or
Should we do yours?
Should we do mine because yours is a...
Have you got your list?
I do have my list. My list is here. I do have it here. So I took, obviously, Chaos Dwarfs. As I affectionately call them, the Beef Makers.
The beef makers.
There was a lot of cow jokes going around for my army over the weekend. So
it's such a patty.
such a patty. So the army consisted of, in my Lord's section, I had a Sorcerer Prophet, who was a level 4 on the Law of Hashut, which, if you know Law of Hashut, it's interesting. We'll talk about it in a second. He was armed with the Black Hammer of Hashut and the Mask of the Furnace. So he had +2 strength, a Cause to Fear, 4 up ward save, 2 up against flaming, and 1 point better armor. And he was mounted on a Bale Taurus, or if you colloquially know them as Murder Cows. And I tell you, for one, he was a murder cow.
Yeah, he had a good weekend.
He's on Laura Schutz. We know from our Cow Store deep dive, Laura Schutz is very good on a cow.
Much better if you put him on the cow,
Yeah, but it is a 4-spell law in my opinion. It's definitely a 2-spell law, but there are 2 other spells you do want to take as well, but you do just use 2 spells.
Yeah, there's 2 really, really dirty spells.
Yeah, so that was my lord. That was 625 points on bovine perfection.
Bovine perfection.
You damn right. And so we're going to move into heroes, and I had 6 heroes. I didn't realise how many heroes I actually had in this army.
You had a lot.
So I had 2 Demon Smith Sorcerers. They were both level 2s on the Law of Fire. And I actually really enjoyed using the Law of Fire. I did find myself actually using the spells from the Law of Fire quite a bit. Outside like the Demon Smith, outside the Shoots.
They're great little support spells.
The support spells, just chucking out the fireballs.
Yep.
And so I had one of the Demon Smith who was colloquially, it was known as Pointy Hat, because he had a pointy hat. He had the Ruby Ring of Ruin, so he had the option for double fireballs if needs be.
Yep.
And I tell you for one thing, it did come into effect. When we go into my games, we'll go through that. We had the other Demon Smith had the Chalice of Blood and Darkness, which in Tim's pack in itself was incredible.
Yeah, so the FAQ for the North members allowed you to deduct the dice from the pool. It works by rolling a d3 for your pool and a d3 for your opponent's
pool. Yeah, you
pool.
roll
That's
separately.
how many dice you lose in either the power or dispel phase.
Any phase.
But Tim allowed you to do it between casting and dispelling attempts. So Max could pick up all of his dice, throw them at a casting attempt. I go to pick up my dice, and before I pick up my dispel pool, Max says, whoa, I'm going to lose D3 dice. Oh, I haven't got any. Oh, no. You're going to lose D3 dice, you lose 3, you're going to probably not successfully dispel now.
And so that's where in this event there was a lot of armies that didn't actually take a scroll either.
Yeah, there was.
So I managed to get off Ash Storm more times than I would have previously thought I'd be able to, if I was honest. And it did help me out a lot in nullifying a lot of magic and stuff like that.
Yep.
So as that, I had my Infernal Castellan, who's my Battle Standard Bearer. He had an Enchanted Shield, the Sword of Striking, and a Talisman of Endurance.
All good stuff.
And you may be saying, Max, there's a lot of points in a Battle Standard Bearer for the amount of stuff he's got there. He can take 75 points of magic items.
He certainly can.
He can. So he was obviously 2 up arm save, 5 up ward save with +1 to hit.
Yeah, good.
And being naturally stubborn, he did really solid. And we have 3 Hobgoblin Khans, all riding on giant wolves because they're your best chaff.
Well, that's the thing with the fire magic and the Khans, is that gives you chaff and anti-chaff.
Yes.
In abundance, the combinations there.
So I had Hobgoblin Khan, aka Capes, who had the Shield of Ptolus with light armor and spear. Shield of Ptolus came up zilch throughout the entire thing. Didn't actually matter.
Still good though, still good.
It did. I then had a Hobgoblin, the second one had a Charm Shield, light armor and spear.
Yep.
That did come up because in my 4th game, which was Empire, he survived a full Hellblaster volley gun.
Wow.
He survived the Hellblaster, mate, and then went in because he was hit. He had to use his engineer's reroll on the misfire, and then didn't get the. He was half long range. He didn't fire, so he got like 3 hits. Charm Shield. He's freeze to wound. That's 1 wound. Pass my arm save on the 6 plus. It was pretty spicy. And then my last Hobgoblin had nothing else. He just had light armor, shield, and spear. So he was just like 60 points. And they were fantastic. The Khans are really good.
Yeah.
They're really good. In my core, I had 34 Infernal Guard, which is a lot of points. So a lot of points. And we're full command. They had great weapons. They come with a shield and hand weapons, and they had the Banner of Swiftness. Because my army it's not designed around
holding off too much.
It's not an artillery hill. It's more so getting your grill and go from there.
Yeah.
And so they were the main bulk of the core. And then to round it out, I had 40 Hobgoblin Cutthroats. We all had we had full command. We had shields, throwing weapons, and light armor.
Yeah. So 5 up, 6 up.
5, 6 up, 202 points. Super cheap.
Worth doing.
Yeah. Special, we had a Death Streaker rocket launcher. and a magma cannon. And I can tell you for one thing, after my first shooting phase, they were the first targets for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. They're both very good.
They were first target, and then the main power design was in 2 Kadai destroyers.
The real steak, if you will.
The real
prime beef.
The filet mignon.
Yeah, of the list.
So two Kadai destroyers, and they carried so much of my games for me.
I'm not surprised.
The Kadai destroyers and the source of profits, they were the Air Force beef. Air Force beef.
Air, land and sea. Air, land and beef. You should have
Air,
gone
land and beef.
Air, land and beef.
But no, so that was the main hit in Power My Army, and so I went 3-2, so 3 wins and 2 losses.
It's not bad.
No draws. The wins were someday I got 1-20-0 win, I got 11-9 win,
So a tight one.
and I got one. What was the other win?
15-5.
15-5. It was a win.
Yeah.
So my first game was against Warriors of Chaos with Dave Paul. I've spoken about Dave Paul before, to be honest. Great guy. He used Warriors of Chaos, and I'm not really funny, Dave. He
used the same army list you took to Cardiff.
He used my army list I took to Cardiff. It's I say very similar. There was a lot of stuff that was very much the exact same.
Yeah, it was very.
So I know the power of that army, and I did lose to it. Unfortunately, it was a 14-6
to Dave.
And I will say this: Dave, great guy, charged a Gorby's chariot into my Chaos Dwarf Warriors on my Infernal card. I lost combat by, I think, 2.
Guys, you know what's coming.
I lost combat by 2. I'm stubborn leadership 10.
Really? Leadership 10?
Leadership 10. That's an 11. Oh, Dave, I'm going to have to re-roll that. That's an 11.
I just don't understand how he does it with such frightening consistency.
Honestly, it was like, it's a foul, re-rollable 10 stubborn test. The Gorby chariot obviously ran down 700 points worth of my models because I had my BSB in there as well.
Oh,
and that was, I think that was on turn 3 that happened. That happened on turn 3, so it was a bit of a shock for me. But then obviously, Land, Air and Beef came in. Land, Air and Beef.
I'm so proud of myself.
Land, Air and Beef came in. I think Land, Air and Beef, they took on pretty much the world at that point.
Clawed you a lot of points back.
They clawed me a lot of points. The Demon Swift, the Ruby Ring of Ruin, killed a Chimera.
Cammy!
Gary the Chimera got absolutely roasted. He cast a regular fireball first. Dave dispelled that because he said he didn't want to get a regen. Oh, okay, we'll go with a Ruby Ring. That's cast. I have to let it go. 6 hits, 4 wounds, 4 failed arm saves.
Wow, that's a really good dice. That's a really good dice.
So yeah, it was pretty strong. So the Chimera got from there. The source of profit, I didn't actually roll up a Flames of Asgore.
Okay.
I had no Flames of Asgore. I had Ashstorm, so I managed to get Ashstorm off of the Demon Prince quite a bit. I think 4 out of 6 turns he was Ashstormed.
And that's all you need, really, if I'm honest with that sort of thing, because he was on the Laura Sinesh, wasn't he?
He was on Laura Sinesh, yeah.
And all of the spells are cast on enemies, and you can't cast spells or cast on models that are not the wizard.
Yeah.
And you can only cast spells on yourself when you're Ashstormed.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely humongous.
Yeah, and then he actually managed to kill the Demon Prince as well. He managed to kill it with the Curse of a Shut.
That's like the Death Sniper.
It's a Death Sniper. It's 2d6 minus your toughness, wounding on 4+ no armor saves.
Lovely.
I've cast it twice. Both times I got 10 hit. I rolled a 10 and got 5 hits. Did 2 wounds apiece in each time. Managed to kill him over 2 turns. That was pretty strong. He pulled about that. That's a nice 600 points there, and that.
Yeah, so Land, Air and Beef pulled in.
Land, Air and Beef pulled in. The Kadai's just run amok for a lot of stuff. Held some things. I think one of them did die. And I think one of them blew itself up. As is naturally, because you failed tough test on a 6. I failed like a lot of them over the course of the weekend.
You do take a lot as well, though. Yeah. So, how was game 2 now, Max?
Game 2 was against David LeBlanc. LeBlanc. That's it, not Lacroix. LeBlanc. He took Lisbon.
Yeah, he was a cool guy, Dave.
Cool guy. I think he was relatively new to the game, or new back to the game, possibly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't ask him.
He never played Chaos Dwarfs before.
Yeah, he might just have not played them because they're not a real army.
Well, thanks. So I played him. He was very surprised about what the Kadais could do.
Yeah.
I think one of my Kadais.
I got that impression from him.
Yeah. One of the Kadais charged into 30 Temple Guard with a Saurus Old Blood in there, and came out the other side of the Temple Guard.
They're so good, mate.
They are good. The Chaos Dwarf Warriors got flanked and fronted by 2 units of Saurus. Won the combat.
Oh wow, that's rotten from them.
Well, they hit me on 4s. I'm hitting them on 3s and killing on 2s.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got great weapons in Whip Score 4.
Did he have spears on them?
One of the units had spears.
Yeah, that hurts not having
The other
well.
units in my flank had shields, but he didn't pass many parries, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And the other guy just run around, and then the murder cow just was running amok, just charging bits and pieces from there. So that was game 2. That was 1-1-20 0.
Yeah,
so
that was a big win.
It was a big win for me. I pulled it back a little bit from that, and in game 3 I played Steve Toll. I think it was his name was Steve Toll.
Yeah.
He was running ogres, and it was a gut star. So he had 5 characters in there.
It was, wasn't it?
Scout Star, and then he had another unit of 8 or 10 ogre balls. So another meaty unit there. Yeah, there you go. 2 iron blasters, absolutely terrifying. And then a unit of 4 Mornfang, and that was it. There was no actual saber-tusk or nobblers or anything like that. It was a lot of points and a lot of stuff.
Was, yeah.
5 lead belches as well.
Very blocky list.
It was very blocky. I managed to pull an 11-9 out of that one. That was a tight game for me.
It was I know another lad that played against Steve said he was really great, had a really good game with him. He said, but the blocks were they were not easy to get points out of. His army was not easy to get points out of. So
highlight that game was his gut start charging my Infernal Guard, but purely because the unit's in the way, only the tyrant could actually get into combat with me. He was so shifted far over. And the tyrant was swiping at Chaos Dwarf left, right, and centre, but the Chaos Dwarf managed to cut down the tyrant. Just cut out the legs and just cut down the tyrant. I mean, on 4s, we're on 3s.
Those great weapons.
2 wounds a turn. I managed to cut down the tyrant. Nice. So I managed to put an 11-9. The Kadaias got charged by the Mornfang. They both got charged by Mornfang at the same time. And then the Kadaias managed to do it. It did take about 3 turns though, because my hit rolls weren't all that good. I was failing a lot of hit rolls.
It's that lack of magical attacks for ogres that really makes the Kadai such a difficult thing to deal with.
And so they did that, then the Kadaias killed both the Iron Blasters and killed the Lead Belchers. It was a lot of stuff going on there. So I managed to put 11-9 there. Game 4, I was against Empire, against Jack Grobel?
John Grobel?
John Grobels.
John Grobel, nice man.
No, not John Grobels.
No?
No.
What did he have?
He had Elspeth on Draken.
Oh, no.
Not
Jack Brodel.
Jack Brodel, that's it, not John Grobel.
Why do I remember the names of the people you played?
Jack Brodel. Sorry, Jack. Oh, and sorry, John as well. So I played against Jack Brodel. I forgot his name already.
Brodel.
I just said he was using Elspeth on Draken. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Bit of Law of Death there.
Law of Death. Law Master Death.
For your Initiative 1 Chaos Dwarves.
Yep. So he had Elspeth on Draken. He had 40 greatswords, 40 halberdiers, a cannon, a steam tank, a weather wagon.
Wasn't that different to my list?
No, the only difference was he swapped out the Archlector and the level 4. Oh, yeah, the Archlector. He actually had the Archlector as well. He was on
War Altar?
No, he was on foot.
You use that as your general? I would have. And there's Dragons. I can't imagine she's 10.
I think Draken was the general, to be honest.
Well, I would have used the Archlector.
But no, so Elspeth, so they're going from there. It's like very similar to your army, to be honest. Elspeth flew up turn 1. Purple Sun. Killed 25 Chaos Dwarf Warriors. The Purple Sun hits the Source of Profit. I rolled a 2 on the initiative test and passed. I was like, ah! Then my turn 2, I managed to where Elspeth was, she couldn't get out of sight of the Source of Profit. The Source of Profit charged in, Ash stormed her, and then.
Please.
I didn't know. I did the black hammer did not instantly kill it, but the cow itself did attack Elspeth. Got 4 hits. 3 wounds, caused 6 wounds because it's flaming attacks.
Just killed her.
And just killed her outright. She's on a ward save or anything like that.
So the Ash Storm makes you flammable.
Ash Storm makes you flammable, and a lot of my stuff has flaming attacks. The Source Prophet did try to then hit the Carmine Dragon underneath. It hit it, fell to it.
Oh, so
I was running on 4s and I fell to it. So if you are hit with if you're flammable and you hit with a black hammer, you instantly die. Or
if you ever wounded.
If you're wounded by a black hammer, you are instantly killed. I fell to it, but the dragon then failed to test and ran off the board. So I managed to get it there. The Kadai's just tore an arm. The Kadai's caused, I managed to Ash Storm the steam tank. Kadai's caused 16 wounds to it. Ooh. I think I got 9 attacks, 8 hits, 8 wounds. He failed all his armor saves and did 16 wounds to it.
Ouch.
The steam tank was at 1 wound at that point in time, as it is anyway, but it's just 16 wounds.
It's just funny. Yeah.
The other Kadai charged some swordsmen, killed all them, got flank charged by some great swords. Died to the great swords eventually because I fluffed a bit around the combat and just broke because of unstable. But there was so few great tools left at that point that the Elkadai managed to just kill it all.
Kill them all.
Kill the rest off. And that ended up as a 15-5 to me.
So a nice solid win for the Cow Stores.
After losing all those Cow Stores, I thought that was it. And if I did lose Source of Profit, I would have been in a lot of trouble.
It just goes to show, something we say a lot though, doesn't it? That, you know, just because you think you're in trouble or just because things are going a bit wrong, you shouldn't quit or give up. You should, you know, really look at the table and think about what you can do to keep scoring points and putting pressure on, because you never know.
No. And then my last game 5, was against Nav Hussain. He's a regular tournament player, if I'm honest.
He certainly is.
Does come to a lot of tournament
Won
players.
Cardiff Crusade.
Did win Cardiff Crusade. He's using
21.
He did Cardiff Crusade 2021. He was using Wood Elves this time and was in the duel. It was the duel mission. He had a Tree Man Ancient in the duel. He threw his Tree Man in. I had to obviously stick the Source of Profit in there because he's the big man. Nav did try to tree whack me, which I thought was quite interesting because it's just an initiative test.
We'll take D6 wounds, yeah.
So I failed an initiative test. He did 2 wounds to me, unfortunately. So that was that. I think I managed to pass 1 or 2 ward saves. I think I managed to pass 1 or both ward saves. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then the Source of Profit cracked his knuckles. He's hitting the Tree Man on 3s because we've skill 5, we've skill 4. So he got 3 hits. He's winning on 4s because the Black Hammer. He got 4 wounds. He had a 6-up armor save and a 6-up ward save. Failed both armors.
Shouldn't have an armor save against. He's got 3 up.
armor
Sorry,
save,
yeah.
The 6-up armor, 6-up ward. He failed 2 of the ward saves eventually. He took 2 wounds. I said, he's dead, mate.
He's flammable because he's a tree.
He's a Tree Man. The Black Hammer just instantly turned it to kindle.
Charcoal, baby.
But then the rest of the game, it was a back and forth game, but then about midway through it, I think he started to run away from it a little bit because Wood Elves, you can kill a lot of units, but they're not worth points.
A lot of points.
They're not worth points, and a lot of my units are worth a lot of points.
It's quite a clever build against you in a way. Not that Nav built his list to fight you, obviously, but it's would be quite a tricky build for you in a way because, you know, you're just getting fed very few points, and all the time he's nipping away at your blocks, and he's only got to kill 1 to get a huge swing of points off of you.
So they both could die. One of the Kadais did eventually die. It blew itself up a little bit. Took 3 wounds. Whenever they blew up, they only ever took 3 wounds. So he took 3 wounds, and he managed to shoot off with all his arrows and everything like that because they're all magical arrows.
They are, yeah.
So I did that. By the end of it, I had my Source of Profit left on the board. The cow had been killed. The only time the cow's been killed the entire tournament. The poor bovine died at the end of it, so he was left in the middle of the board, surrounded by Wood Elves going, ah!
Get some.
And then I had 1 Kadai left fighting a Tree Man. And you thought, oh, you'd probably have to kill the Tree Man because he had life magic on the Tree Man and held him back up to 4 wounds pretty much.
Yeah.
But then I was in combat with the Tree Man. I couldn't hit or wound it.
Wow.
It was really struggling to hit and wound.
Surprising.
It is surprising.
You've got good weapon skill and good strength.
Yeah. It's just really, I was hitting on 3s, running 3s. I just couldn't do it.
Make it happen.
No, and he passed a good few ward saves as well because I ignored the armor straight away.
Yes.
I brought it down to 2 wounds, so I was a bit disappointed with that. But that ended up as a 15-5 against me.
To Nav, yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I didn't do too badly. I ended up 16th.
So over the top half because it was 34 players.
Yep. And I was on 73 tournament points.
It's not bad.
And I think
one less than Scott was that.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. And I think with Chaos Dwarves, it's a very mid-tier army.
Yeah, and it was a top, sort of just top of the middle finish as well.
Some people saying, "Oh, Chaos Dwarves are so broken, so the Kadais are so broken," but the Kadais are good. They're really good. Laura Schutt is good with those 2 spells. But the rest of the army is very just average.
It's getting it all to work together. You've got really aggressive elements and then elements that are really slow, and you have to purchase the slow elements. There's no choice. So it's always a tightrope.
It was. I enjoyed using them. I actually really enjoyed using them. The Land Air and Beef. Land Air and Beef was especially fun to use. You don't often get to use 2 Kadai destroyers, and
very rare.
1 Kadai is a
handful.
2 Kadais was more than enough to...
A parliament? Is it a parliament of Kadai?
Murder of Kadai.
A murder of Kadai.
Murder of Kadai. But no, so that was really good. So I enjoyed using it. Overall, it was a good weekend for me. It's like probably it's the first tournament I've ever used my castles in.
Yeah,
I think I've had like maybe 10 games prior.
Yeah.
Yeah, about
Can't
that.
be more than that.
Can't be more than 10 games.
I think we had 4 or 5. That's it.
4 practice.
So I don't know if you played anyone else, but you played me 4 times.
Played you 4 times. Played 4 times and went up to the Wirral. Not actually the Wirral, but we always say it's the Wirral.
Yeah.
So I
saw
played
some
for
friends for a weekend. So you had about 8,
8 practice games. So I had a few of them, but not as many as you might get for like a tournament practice. But overall, I thought I did pretty well once everywhere came from.
Yeah, I was pleased to see how you did with them. I also was really pleased to see that army. I just thought it was a really cool army in there, and it was one of the ones that had the big monsters that had really sort of lent into the feel that I think Tim was going for with the event.
Yeah. But that's me. So I suppose we have to move into it now.
We don't have to.
We have to move into...
Finish the video if you want.
See you later, guys. But no, so we'll go into James's army now.
So I took the Empire. I've had a lot of Empire game time lately. Slightly different versions of the build because I played them on the Big Boy Beatdown.
You did.
And I played Andy on Take the Crown last month.
You did. He's had a lot of practice games outside of the channel as well.
Yeah, I played 3 or 4 against you with them, and then I had another 2 or 3. So it wasn't tons. No. I played Map Pass twice with them, I think.
3 times when you played.
3 times. I played somewhere between 4 and 8, 7 and 8 practice games, I think. So we'll have to see how many it was. I mean, not that it really matters. So I'd had a few practice games with this list specifically, and obviously I've been using some Empire on the channel, which included lots of elements of what I had. So my army was a -1 overall. So it just tipped under the 0 points.
Mine was a -2, I didn't mention.
Yeah, yours was slightly harder, and Scott's was a 0, we did say that. So I had 3,000 points exactly as well of Empire. I had an Archlector. I named all my characters because I'm like that.
I did name my source for the end. He's now Masher the Beef Maker.
Masher the Beef Maker. Legendary. So I had Archlector Castellan. He had heavy armour, the white cloak of Ulrich, a charmed shield, the Fencer's Blades, and he was mounted on the War Altar of Sigmar. And it's just worth pointing out, the charmed shield was just saying in case he ate a bolt thrower or a cannon or something like that. The Fencer's Blades obviously take that away in combat, but it gives you a bit of extra defence on the way in. I had a Battle Wizard Lord, Elric Harrig. He was a level 4. He had the Van Horstman Speculum. He had the Opal Amulet as his talisman. He had the Power Stone, and he used the Law of Light. I had heroes. I had a Battle Wizard Lord, Carl Shope. He was a level 1 on the Law of Light with the Dispel Scroll. Famous candles. I had a Battle Wizard Battle Wizard Wolfram Bark. He was a level 1 wizard on the Law of Light.
Did he write many symphonies?
He did not.
Nah.
I had Captain Luther Frank. He was a battle standard bearer with full plate armour, a shield, the Sword of Might, a Luckstone, and the Dragon Helm. That combination was amazing for me. That Luckstone saves so many wounds. It's ridiculous. 2 games, he would have died without it. I had Witch Hunter Johannes von Lamenos, named after my brother, and his love of witch hunting.
I hate this guy.
He has a brace of pistols. So in 2 of our practice games, I nominated Max's PSP as the quarry, and both times I shot and killing blowed him with the shooting attack. It was amazing. So I had 40 halberdiers, which are Hochland's first. I had full command on them and shields. They had 2 detachments. I had a detachment of 5 archers, the Hochland Keen Eyes, and a detachment of 6 archers, the Hergig River Patrol. I went in for this.
You did. You did everything.
12 knightly orders of the Inner Circle from the Order of the Black Hawk. They had full command, lances and shields. They were Inner Circle, and they had the Steel Standard.
Yep.
Incidentally, Steel Standard, also very good for me this weekend. Special, I had 37 great swords, which I think are probably the most controversial choice. Lots of people walked past my army and went, "Oh, great swords." You know, sort of like that.
Remembering they're actually a thing in the army.
Yeah. So they were the veterans of Hergig.
After Gorthor's
invasion. I had a musician and a standard, so I couldn't afford the champ for them.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, that was because I really wanted both of my 4 Demigryph Knight units, which are coming next, to have musicians, and I didn't have the points for both to have musicians and a champ. So in the Great Sword, so I had 2 units of 4 Demigryph Knights. They're veteran hawks from the Order of the Black Hawk, obviously, and they had lances and shields, and both had musicians.
Yeah.
242 points of goodness.
They are just cheap as anything.
They really are. I had my Celestial Hurricanum,
the Weather Wagon,
Constellation's Fury, and I had the Emperor's Hammer, my steam tank.
So yeah, it's not your standard Empire, is it? It's not your standard competitive Empire.
It's not 2 steam tanks and Law of Life.
No.
I think this was relatively common type of list. Like the War Altar list was quite common.
It was. I remember seeing it a lot, and it just sort of
dropped off the face of the planet. I'm not sure what caused that. So I had a good weekend. I played game 1. I played Dan Gregory, and Dan had Dark Elves. He had a really strong list.
Malekith Witch Star, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean there were some concessions. His comp wasn't that hard. I think it must have been about the same as mine because it was game 1, so he was around the same place as me. He had Malekith in a big unit of Cold-Blooded Knights. He had a unit of Dark Riders, a large unit of Doomfires, I think 10 or 12, I can't remember exactly. A big unit of Witches with the Cauldron of Blood, with Death Hag A. He had a unit of Executioners with Talaris Dreadbringer to give them Frenzy. And I think and a big unit of Crossbowmen, and he had like a support wizard. If I say your army and I get it roughly wrong, I'm sorry. It was a mission where you randomly deployed where your units went, so you rolled to see where they arrived. And unfortunately for Dan, his Witch Star ended up on his right hand end, which was the gap to fit them through was so tight, he ended up right against his bald edge, and almost all of my stuff ended up on my right hand end. So they were a really long way away, and it just allowed me to kind of get at his army piece by piece. And in the end, Malekith charged into some demigriffs. He didn't break them. I had to put spells on them. I can't remember if I'd put Light of Battle on them or if Dan had dispelled that, but I had spells on them to buff them. They held. My steam tank went in the flank, and that was the end of them. Then my steam tank rolled a really big random move and hit the crossbowmen. That was the end of them. And the Executioners killed a unit of demigriffs, had to overrun. They got flanked by my Inner Circle Knights and the wagons. And it was very much that story, really. When the Witches finally arrived, they charged the unit, they killed it, they overran. They got flanked by a big unit of Greatswords, and they all died. So it was... it really went to plan for me, is probably the best way to put it. And I got a 20 on that game. So game 2 for me was Rob Nixon, friend of the channel, and not Roaster of Max.
Not Roaster yet.
He brought down his Beastman army. So I'm going to try again to paraphrase this. He had 4 core chariots, the Tuskegore ones, and they all were Slanesh.
Probably, yeah.
He had 2 units of Ungor Raiders with Slanesh. He had 2 Gorgons, Gorgon and Zola. He had 40 Bestigor with Mark of Nurgle, full command. He had a Wargore in there, a Beast Lord in there, a level 4 on Shadow, and a level 4 on Beasts.
3 lords.
Then he had a level 2 wizard on the Law of Shadow?
You want to say Shadow?
Or Beasts? Shadow or Beasts again. In a big unit of 2 hand weapon Nurgle Gore. They were in a bus. The others were in a horde. And he had a BSB with the Beast banner. I remember him having the Beast banner.
Ooh.
In with those Gore as well.
Good choice. I do like the Beast banner.
Yeah, and he had the Shard of the Herdstone.
Natch.
So he dominated me magically, which was really difficult.
You said this probably one your most fun game.
We just had a really, really good laugh. It was a really competitive game, but we just, when stuff died, when things went wrong, we just laughed.
So there was a lot of shouting coming from that table, and everyone just went silent and turned around. What the hell's going on there?
We were just having a really good time. We both were really hoarse after the game from shouting and laughing. Like Rob couldn't talk on Sunday at all. So it was a really great game. Rob had quite a solid line. I took a relatively counter-attacky line because I got to deploy second in that mission, and it was deploy a whole army mission.
Yep.
Rob went first. He came forward. He had a Razor Gore as well.
Oh, it's the singular Razor Gore.
The Razor Gore was important. I put the Knights in a circle into some Ungor, overran into a chariot. Rob countercharged me with a second chariot, but that was going into the front as well. And so as a result, I obviously had lances too, so I bashed the chariots with the Knights. They were excellent. My steam tank went down the hole, bit of shades, off he goes.
Off he goes.
That was my turn too as well. I was like, oh, he's really upsetting. I was like, he's going to kill that Gorgon. Rob's like, no, he's not, mate. So
take a bit of shades. Oh dear.
But I banished the other Gorgon down some wounds. I charged a Razor Gore. I needed a massive overrun from the Demigriffs. I think I needed an 11. Rolled a double 6. Big shout straight into the Gorgon. Take him out of play. Rob was really sportsmanly there as well. I lost that. I ended up losing that combat because I fluffed all my dice. And I took the leadership test stubborn, rolled a 9, and Rob was like, I think you're in range of your general or your BSB, and we checked, and I was, and I actually didn't think I was, but I was. So it was really good of him to say that because it meant that I didn't flee. Rob went for a big charge with a Bestigor. It wasn't a big number, but he did fail it. And that really was what sunk him. I ganged up on the gore then. I had the great swords in there, and I got all the wagons come round. They just make me hit so much. Even when you're Nurgle, they make me hit so much. I cleaned up the Gorgon, second Gorgon with the Knights in a Circle. Again, they had a great game, the Knights in a Circle. They really did kill a lot. And very quickly, it sort of started to come down to Rob's got a really big star. And I don't think I'm going to be able to beat that big star, basically. But I'd got his BSB, I'd got other cool stuff. So I then went and used the chaff game to just control the star. And then on turn 6, Johannes von Lamenos pulls the brace of pistols. He'd nominated his level 4 Law of Beast Wizard at the start of the game. And he hit him. I said to Rob, I've hit him 4 times in this game. I feel like it's time now that I'm going to do it. Big 6. Killing bloodies Beast Wizard.
Off goes Zed.
It was a really fun game, which I managed to win 17-3 with an excellent finish of shooting him in the face. Because he said to Tim, the tournament organiser, he was like, he was like, what are you going to do if you don't charge in? Stand off and like shoot me and try and kill my wizard? Tim walked past him and he probably will. I was like, I am going to do that, Rob. So that was a great game, big 17-3. Then I drew my Enigma at tournaments, which is my brother John.
You did.
He was on...
The Laminoff.
He was on more points than me. He was on 39, Animal. And I was on 37. We drew up. He also had Dark Elves. He had a Witch Star with a Cauldron of Blood. He had a unit of Doomfire Warlocks with a Dreadlord. On a horse, he had a level 4 on the Law of Dark Magic on a Pegasus. She was really a problem for me. A couple of Bolt Throwers, some Crossbowmen, and some Dark Riders. He had a Charybdis and a Hydra.
Yeah.
I got first turn against John because I had obviously less drops because my army only had 8 because of the detachments. He failed to dispel my first banishment, which was rough for him. I killed a Hydra, and it allowed me to then like basically get another banishment off, which wrecked most of his crossbowmen.
Yeah.
Which was really harsh. His Doomfire Warlocks probably got a little too close, I think it's fair to say, and I made a decent length charge with the Demigryph Knights into them. Wrecked them, they fled nothing distance, and I killed his Dreadlord as well on the turn. That was my turn 2, so that was quick. The witches came kind of up and over the centre. I did the usual tricks with them to pin them down. The Executioners charged my Halberdiers, did lots of damage to me, nearly killed a wizard, but they just got really badly hurt back because I had Hatred and +1 to hit. And I'm in a horde, I just throw so many more dice than he threw. They broke, and unfortunately they got ran down through... They got away, but there was other shenanigans. They got ran down, basically, on a cheap rundown. Johannes von Lamenos charged out of a unit into a Bolt Thrower, beat the Bolt Thrower crew to death on his own. It didn't all go my way. John's Bolt Throwers did shoot and do 6 wounds to my steam tank. And my steam tank misfired 3 times in that game and died.
Did it blow stuff up?
Yeah, he did blow stuff up.
Okay.
As soon as it's down to 1 wound, I'm like 5 steam points.
5 steam points. That's a misfire. Right,
it didn't really do a lot. The witches got flanked in the end by my Halberdiers, actually. Of all things, would have preferred the great swords, but was in a position where it had to be them.
Take what you give it.
But when you're rocking Hatred, +1 to hit off of the 2 battle altars, you're going, I'll go reroll wounds, I'll go 5 up walled, I'll go weapons skill initiative 10, I'll go Bjorn's Time Warp. I was just throwing couple of dice at everything, putting loads of pressure on him, and in the end the witches were also broken and were defeated by me. I had pinned them as well to stop them being able to reform in a way that was favourable for them. So all of that came together really well for me there against John, and he got 1,000 points off me, but I just eked to 20-0 because of the mission. So that was a really strong first day for me. I came into day 2, I played Mike Sylvester. Now, he's an old hand, very good competitive gamer, Mike. And it was nice to see him back at a tournament, to be honest. He had Teclis, he had Eltharion the Grim on foot, he had Caradrian, a level 1 on light.
Yeah.
A Battle Standard Bearer with the Botwood, which was the Sea Helm one.
Yeah.
They were all in basically a unit of White Lions that were 5 wide, 1 million deep. So it was just like a 1,500, 1,600 point star I was never going to kill.
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it. He had a big unit of archers. He had lots of chaff. sort of 4 units of cavalry of different persuasions, and 2 Shadow Warrior units.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what else he had. A couple of bolt throwers. Wasn't a lot else because he had a lot in characters. And the game, I was in a bit of ag from the beginning. I miscasted with a wizard on turn 1. He died.
That's your big wizard, is it?
No, it wasn't. It was my level 2, level 1.
Okay.
But it was more the fact that he had Net of Ammontok, which is absolutely a must dispel for Techless every turn.
Yeah.
And so I would have been able to draw dice every turn with that wizard, which was a huge loss. And he had a couple of really strong opening shooting phases where I just didn't seem to want to pass any armour saves, and I lost half my greatswords in 2 turns to archers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which was not great. So, and I say this a lot. I was in a lot of trouble in this game, and I say it a lot. When you're losing, there is an art to losing as much as there is an art to winning.
You'll take down as much as you can with you.
And Mike was a very, very good player, and I have to say that it was a very, very clean game. He was a very fair opponent with me. Little thing, I moved that. Sorry, I meant to declare that charge. Mike's like, I knew you were going to declare that charge. You'd said it before. Didn't penalise me. He wasn't that sort of guy. Was really tight affair, but he certainly put me on the pressure foot. I took a couple of risks in the late game, and those risks paid off for me. He charged his archers in, didn't break my halberdiers. I reformed, flanked him with my knights, got a lot of points there. And the game petered down. I lost 1,000 or so. He lost 800 or so. So it was an 11-9 to Mike.
Not too bad. Not a sad showing.
The thing is, I built up a lot of points from day one, and I was already top of the stack at this point. So, he needed to beat me by quite a bit to overtake me at that junction, and because I lost well, if you like, that didn't happen, which set me up for a final round against Sam McQuillan, who again is someone I've known for a long time from the scene. Really great to see him back at some Warhammer events. He doesn't get to do that too much now, thanks to adulting. He had Lizard Men. His list was a really big minus. It was -6, I think.
Yeah, it was a Sam Filth Quillen.
Yeah, Filth Quillen is his nickname. And we had a good game. I think we're both very tired. It'd been a long weekend. You're competing for a big win at the end. He had a Slam Mage Priest, Laura High Magic. He had a big unit of Temple Guard. He had an Old Blood on a horse, on a cold one. Two Scar Vets on cold ones.
A lot of cowboys.
Yeah. 3 units of Skirmishing Skinks, a level 1 or level 2 Skink Wizard, I think it was. A big unit of Skinks with 2 Croxagore in it. And 2 Bastillodons.
2 Bastillodons?
2 Bastillodons.
No stegs?
No stegs. He was going for double beaming.
Ooh,
He had Razor Standard on his
Temple Guard.
Temple Guard. A lot went right for me in this game. He came forward reasonably hard, and I banished one of the Bastillodons off turn 1. I cannoned the second one. Only rolled one wound on the D6 wounds, but turn 2, my steam tank got the flank of his Temple Guard, and Sam had put his slan on the end, which completely pinned him because you can't take the slan out of base, and the slan must always be in the second rank. Horrible. That steam tank did amazing things. It did die in the end, but when it died, he had 6 Temple Guard left.
Yeah.
And my greatswords, even he made my greatswords strength 3. Even with strength 3 greatswords, I still killed all of them.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot left, and they'd killed all the kind of scrops.
Just number of attacks, to be honest.
Number of dice. Again, I'd got Hammer of Sigmar off, so I was rerolling the wounds. And I should stress, in all these games, the combats that I won, so many of them came down to my prayers from the priest as well, where I was like, I'll go 2 on a prayer, 2 on a prayer, 1 on a prayer. Just 5 dice, and you're getting like so much buff potential. And no one could really stop it all, and that was amazing. And we ground it round. He got the slan out of there in the end with some really good shenanigan play with swapping some spells for a shadow, and then swapping places with other infantry models. It was really clever. I've got to give Sam all his dues. The Cowboys were ace. The Old Blood killed a unit of Griff Knights on his own. The other one was wrecking a unit of Griff Knights before the Great Swords came to the rescue and finished him off. And the last one was in the Temple Guard, which he broke and ran when I killed the rest of the regiment, and I chased him down basically with the old Constellation's Fury, he'd gone in as well.
The weather wagon.
The weather wagon run him down. So really tight game. He finished with a fleeing slan and an old blood that was hiding in a corner. I'd lost quite a lot, but I got the 16-4 on that one. So overall, really great tournament for me.
Where did you come, James?
I was
Victorious.
crowned your king in the north. Woo woo! Yes, no, I did. I won. I was really, really pleased to win. Really chuffed to bring the crown home. Perfect 1 year anniversary for the channel as well.
The Triple Crown has brought
to come home with the crown for the crown.
All we need now is another crown.
Yeah, because we got the one from the Take the Crown videos.
We've got the Take Crown one.
So we'll have to get another one.
We've seen an actual Triple Crown.
So yeah, my list worked really well. It was really synergetic. It was lots of buff hammer. The banishments were decent, but they weren't. They had good effects at zapping those one-off models like Hydras and Bastillodons. But in general, most of the time the banishment was dispelled, which is arguably more useful because I was getting so many great buffs off on the blocks and getting the results. Again, when I fought the Dark Elves with John, I got Birion's Time Warp off on the. I was like, I'll banish your Charybdis, I'll stop that. Birion's Time Warp on a unit of Demigryphs fighting your general. Massive, loads of extra attacks, loads of extra damage potential. So, yeah, and it was like that. It worked really well for me. I was genuinely pleased to do it with Empire as well.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people, you don't see Empire winning a lot of stuff.
No, I've never took them to a tournament before either, but they just suited me. And like anything, you get a good slice of luck in there as well. Your dice come up at important times, so. But it was a great weekend for me. I was really pleased to win King in the North. No one shouted King in the North back at me when I won it.
So everyone was tired, the throats were sore, and no one wanted to do it for it.
How dare you?
No one wanted to do it. But no, it was good, really good weekend for all three of us. I think we all enjoyed it. It was
amazing.
It's probably maybe one of the only times we're actually gonna be able to all three of us will be able to play in at least.
Yeah, I'm not sure at the moment. I know we can't do Cardiff Crusade. Cardiff Crusade does still have tickets for those that are interested in going, but I can't for work basically, which is a massive problem for me. And that's kind of stuck you a little bit.
Yeah, because I don't drive,
to transport and stuff. So yeah, we can't do that one. And then with our other events, I'm going to try and do the team one if it comes up at the end of the year in the right time. But we'll have to see. But fantastic event. I want to thank Tim Richardson for putting it on.
Yeah,
I want to thank everyone that came, even the guys that we didn't play. Everyone was so great when we spoke to people, and the guys we did play were amazing. We had a really good time. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Jack Cropper. I'll put out his name there.
Yeah, you do that.
Thanks, Jack.
As ever, we close this video by telling you what you can expect to find on triplecrownwargaming.com and YouTube in the next, usually 4, but this month, 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's 5 weeks.
It's going to be a magical 5-weeker, so we'll explain that. Let's explain that first. Should we explain that first, Max? Max looks happy. So, as we did last year with the Triple Crown Wargaming Grand Tournament weekend, we will be live streaming plenty of games.
Yep.
We're going to live stream lots of the action. We'll do videos on the Friday night, setting up the venue.
Yep.
We'll have a chat with people in the middle of the day. There'll be loads of cool hobby happening. We can't wait.
No, it's going to be an awesome weekend like last year.
It really will be great.
We're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a highlight for me. I love just seeing that many people together, playing Warhammer, doing their thing, having a really good laugh. So, going to be great. But that will happen on the 7th and 8th of May, as you that are coming know, we alluded to earlier. And that coverage will mean that the video that would have been released that weekend, which is the next episode
of this month
in Warhammer, will be pushed back 1 week. Like we did last time as well. Don't worry, you're not going to miss a snippet, because that Thursday we'll give you a rundown of the top 3 tournament lists from that event as well. And we'll chat about what we think was strong about them and why they worked and why they were successful. So we're really excited about that. So you've got the usual 4 weeks of bumper cool stuff happening too. Plus we've got that extra week in there of live streaming and cool content.
All stuff you want to see.
Everything you love to see. So praise the shirt, everyone. The Legion of Asgore have finally arrived in the War Council this month. Land, Air and Beef will be facing off against the fearsome Dark Elves, which are going to have some really cool new models we've not had on the channel for them before as well.
But now I think whether Land, Air and Beef wants to leave it to the Navy.
Well, they can leave it to the Navy. Get your man of war out. Our Take the Crown series continues this month with yet another guest contender entering the Triple Crown Wargaming studio to tackle one of us. One of us. And as ever, they will pick which one of us they want to do battle with, along with the army that we use, the mission that we play, the comp score, and the points value.
And any limitations they want to impose. As in, no cannons.
That's
and no
the part
level
that's
fours.
always scary, the limitations. And this month is going to see former Triple Crown Wargaming Grand Tournament winner, that's a long sentence,
It is.
and last year's second place finisher, so he's no strangers to the top end of the draw.
He's not a slouch.
Matt Passfield is going to come in to see us. And actually, he's going to join us with either his Empire or his Tomb Kings.
And most of you might have been expecting all of Urgle
You
there.
may have been expecting all of Nurgle. You're not going to see that. You're going to see Empire or Tomb Kings. I think that's going to make for a really interesting game.
Yeah.
And now to find out which one of us he's playing and which army we'll be using, etc., well, you just have to come along and check that episode out in a couple of weeks' time. But I'm sure it's going to be an absolute belter.
Belter!
Pine for Beginners will feature one of the fastest and most agile armies in the game this month, as we're going to continue with some demons, but this time it will be the Demons of Slaanesh.
From stinky to pretty.
Yeah.
From slow to quick. I can't think of any.
From fat to mask. Is that one?
From fat to yeah?
Yeah. Accountants to masks. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Accountants to masquerade balls. There you go.
Accountants are dancers.
I'm just losing the plot here. This month's Warzone Tale is one of the most important clashes in the history of the Warhammer world. It is none other than the battle for the Isle of the Dead.
Anarian versus the world.
Yeah, man, it's going to be epic.
Electric Boogaloo.
Four greater demons, enter the Thunderdome, one Anarian and Andrognia.
Four demons enter, one man leaves.
one elf and dragon leave. They don't leave well.
That's going to be a big army list to get 4 great demons in. That's going to have to be a massive army list.
Just hides his face. Awesome. So, we'll move on. This month's Hero of Legend Tale is an ancient one that goes back to the very roots of the world, as we're going to get stuck into one of the oldest characters in Warhammer.
One of, if
not
the.
the.
We can't.
We're not certain.
We're not certain if he is the oldest. I think he's certainly one of the oldest.
He's right up there. We're going to be tackling Durthu, ladies and gentlemen.
Durthu.
So get your tree on that. It's going to be great. Our final video in our 20 Tactics Battle Magic series is going to be a big one with no less than a dozen factions taking part.
I envy no man that has to do this.
We're going to see if I can come up with Law of Death tactics, ladies and gentlemen, for a dozen armies. Let's see how we get on with that one.
Law of Death. Well, everyone knows Law of Death.
Strong.
It's strong.
So I'll enjoy trying to come up with something cool and different for that. Onto the competitive character series now, and this month we'll see us explore the aristocracy of the knights with the Strigoi Ghoul King.
The stinky.
The stinky.
The stinkier. It's the stinkier Ghoul King.
Our Magic and Mundane feature will really make you use your head this month, guys, as we discuss magical helmets. I'm having a great time. And finally, pack your machetes and prepare for a cold-blooded reception as we, or more accurately, Max, brings you the Lizard Man Deep Dive. So you get all of that awesome content, then you'll get a packed weekend of gaming as we bring you action live from the Triple Crown Wargaming Grand Tournament.
Live from the garden.
2022.
Yeah.
And then you'll see us in 5 weeks' time for more this month in Warhammer.
Indeed. Don't do it, please.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share.
Like, subscribe and share.
Like, subscribe and share. King in the North.
Get your words out.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a knight of the realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright?